Hello everyone, I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It is Friday, October the 8th, 2021. Tomorrow being Saturday in the fall, we have some SEC games we might want to watch. We have Bama and Texas A&M and UT in South Carolina. I don't know if they're at South Carolina or at Neyland, but those are the matchups that we have that I'm going to watch in particular. Now, have today's numbers on the magic pad. We'll get to them, but I have a special interest segment on iBuyers. Let's get to that. For this status chat, it is a story here from marketplace.org. This link I will put in the YouTube description of the status chat so you can see it in its entirety. It's from marketplace.org. Janet Nugent, September 29th, 2021. It's only about a week old, a little over a week old. The question is, are iBuyers manipulating the housing market? Let me just go ahead and pull this down. As housing prices skyrocket to record highs, some observers point to the tech-driven iBuying process as a contributor to housing market madness. In a recent viral TikTok video, real estate agent Sean Gotcher said that a billion-dollar real estate company with a website that everybody visits is harnessing user data to figure out where it can profitably buy houses. Gotcher said that this company, heavily alluding to Zillow, might then hypothetically buy 30 homes for $300,000 each, but purchase a 31st home for $340,000. Gotcher said this creates a new comp or new comparable property, which gives appraisers a reference point for the value of the home in the area. In theory, the value of the comparable home in that area would rise to $340,000. Said the company would then be able to sell those 30 homes at a higher price, netting a $1.2 million profit, according to Gotcher. Now, how iBuying works. Now, we're probably familiar with this, but we don't know that we're familiar with it if we haven't heard that term. Tech-enabled companies such as Zillow have the capability to quickly snap up houses via iBuying, which has gained traction in recent years. Homeowners disclose information about their property to an iBuyer, which prompts an algorithm to estimate the value of the home, generating an offer in 24 hours or less. What you're paying for is convenience. Homeowners pay the iBuyers a fee that is usually higher than a standard real estate company bill and are typically unable to negotiate the offers they receive. iBuyers cost home sellers about 13 to 15% of the home's sale price, while an agent costs 5 to 7%, according to a 2019 research report from the real estate data firm Collateral Analysis. Zillow is among the industry's biggest iBuyers, but so are Opendoor, OfferPad, and Redfin. The practice is clustered in some of the country's biggest markets, like Phoenix, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, said Mike Delpreet, a scholar in residence at the Leeds School of Business at the University of Colorado Boulder. Now, I'll put up this little chart. We'll be able to see this is from March of 2021, we'll be able to see what markets are seeing extremely high growth rates, and there may be some reason for that. This is possibly unrelated, but we know that we're having a great deal of migration from the blue states, from the East Coast to the West Coast and North, and they're coming to our beautiful Tennessee because we have no income tax and we're just friendly as you can be. Now, according to Zillow, iBuyers constituted 1% of the home purchases in the second quarter of 2021. This share is too small to exert an effect on the vast majority of American housing markets, according to Anthony Orlando, real estate professor, California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. Now, let's look at that graph again, that illustration again. This is from the National Association of Realtors. It doesn't necessarily have to be worldwide, United States wide. It can be iBuying can take an effect in certain markets all the way down to the neighborhood and have an effect, and that's what we see. So I would kind of disagree that it is having no effect at all. How much effect is yet to be discovered. Plus, if the strategy discussed in the Gotcher video were accurate, you would expect to see housing prices increase in a lot of the markets where iBuyers operate. But prices are rising everywhere, Dupree pointed out, and that's true. So the question is, how much effect is Mr. Gotcher's concept? It's certainly possible. Now, we go down here, we're going to skip a lot of this down to something we know. We're a short supply. Now, how could an iBuyer affect short supply? Well, our market is growing at an enormous rate. We're having a shortage as people move into Tennessee. We simply cannot build enough houses and to accommodate our growth, and the ones that we have are jumping in value significantly. So if someone, like say in the Middle Tennessee market, were able to buy a significant, if they had that money to float it for 3 months or so, just in 3 months they can get a substantial increase, even if, for instance, that increase that they got was based partially on that 13 to 15% below market value that they originally purchased that home for. They can afford to wait 3 months on market. When things start to need a little bit more inventory, they can release it because they have that capacity. Most individual persons don't have that level of financing that they can sit out there on the market without selling their home. An iBuyer, who is an investment brokerage, an investment capital driven organization or company, however you might want to look at it, they can. And that's kind of what this Mr. Gotcher is alluding to, he believes is happening. So anyway, that's about it. We'll go back down to the very last part. At the point in the video, Gotcher says they just need to know what zip code is looking at what zip code, how much those people can afford. So what he's saying is, with big tech's information and big tech's estimation, they know where the money is and who can afford to buy the prices. And if it's a flat market, a market that's not growing, then iBuyer probably will not see that as exciting, as fruitful of a venture as going to one that is hot, hot, hot. And again, I'm going to close this segment with a quick look back at that March illustration on the hottest markets in the United States. I'll let you be a judge if you think big tech is having some level of effect on our housing prices. 1% of the nation is not really relevant to the fact of whether I have a neighborhood of, say, 30 to 50 homes. What percentage of those have been bought by an iBuyer and can be held out to get a higher price? That's a little bit different of a situation. And when we look at the markets where the iBuyers are working, how does that relate to the inflation on those homes in those markets? It's there for you to see or not see, for you to believe or not believe. I don't hold an opinion on it officially. I present, you perceive. So let's run our weekly advert to keep Trek happy. Hello, I'm Dale Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Dale to Sell. That's 1 L and Dale, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Now that we got those done, let's look at the magic pad of what the past held for us. At 10/1/21, we had 10/150 opportunities in Real Scout. That was an increase over the previous period. 45/48 was decreased slightly from the previous period. That is the under contract still showing, and the integer value of the ratio between them dropped to 45%. We have a further drop this week. We had 102.70 in the opportunities, so the supply went up just a little bit, and we had 45.49, which was an increase of 1 home under contract still showing. So it's essentially steady, but it is technically up. The ratio then further dropped to 44%. So we're seeing that we're having a little more supply as we go into fall than we had during the hottest parts of the month. Now, so there we go. We appreciate you. I hope you call Dell to sell. It's up to you whether or not you use a traditional person such as me, who is commissioned and helps you maximize your dollar, or sell directly to an investment buyer, an iBuyer, an internet buyer, that's probably going to cost you, studies show, about 15% of the value of your home. Now, 15% of a bagel is not significant. 15% of a $600,000 home, that's a little bit. That's a little bit. So we appreciate you watching. I would advise all to not be a turkey that votes for Thanksgiving. You may think you're getting a bargain and convenient for you now, but if this catches on, it could be a threat to our pricing in the future. It's whether or not you believe it or you don't. I just present it to you. I present, you perceive. I appreciate you watching. Have a good weekend.